open, keeping cool. Now the difference between the yellow-billed and red-billed oxpecker is they're very similar. But they're getting a nice profile of that one bird. You can see that the bill is completely red, whereas the yellow-billed oxbill, half of that bill is yellow, the other half is red. So you've actually you need binoculars normally to tell, but seeing as I've never seen one, not the easiest bird to come across. Looking at the mouth of the buffalo, you can see he's got that slow mechanical movement. Anybody's familiar with a ruminant, exactly what he's doing right now. He's been feeding, got a belly full of grass. What he does is he re-chews that cud. So with ruminants or four-chambered stomach animals, essentially what it is that they do is they are able to maximize the nutrients gained from vegetation by maximum absorption of that plant part. Apart from the rhino, elephant, zebra, hippo, for example, that aren't ruminants, they don't get too much nutrients out of the vegetation they feed on because they don't digest it very well. Essentially what the buffalo is doing by chewing is it's mechanically breaking down those plant parts to smaller bits. It's adding saliva from the mouth, which are filled with microbes, and adding that to the stomach. So the increased surface area of those broken down plant parts with the added microbes increase the absorption and digestion of the nutrients from that vegetation. Most of that takes place in the first and second stomach before the moisture gets taken out and compaction happens further down in the last two stomachs. You can see he's got a very far away, dreamy look in his eyes. Not very concerned. If any of you have ever seen a cow back home sitting there under the tree, gives you this very far away stare. Good advantage of ruminants is the fact that while they're ruminating, while they're there chewing the cud, which is such an automatic response, it requires absolutely no brain activity. So essentially what he's doing is he's sleeping with his eyes open. They've done studies that the ruminants, while ruminating, are essentially resting or sleeping. Their brain is at the same level of that as a sleeping animal. So if you look at evolution, it's a very great adaptation for an animal to have evolved to be able to increase the absorption of food, but at the same time be alert to the movements of predators. Anything could happen now, a movement of an animal, or I could get out the vehicle or something could trigger him, some sort of key or some sort of trigger would wake him up immediately. He'd stand up and be able to defend himself or run away. He's not actually sleeping, he just needs to shake his head a bit and he's wide awake. Unlike the rhino, zebra, elephant that actually need to consciously switch off their mind. Quite a nice adaptation for animals, and they do very well in an environment that has got good nutrient value in the vegetation, but essentially they do need water. Any of you folks have ever been on foot in Africa or walking when it comes to Big Five? Or if you ask anybody who has done, this would be probably number one on the list as far as walking dangerous game. Not necessarily breeding herds of buffalo, but old grumpy males like this one. They are grumpy, miserable, they get chased around by lions, they have an attitude, they have a temper as well, and they've been isolated from their herd, from the safety that they've been in for their whole lives. And all of a sudden they find themselves isolated, as this guy is, and they are known to charge and attack people. If I had to choose any animal to walk, it would not be a buffalo. Or if it was, it would be from a distance, with lots of escape routes and good cover, possibly a nice tree to climb. Doesn't look like much. A very powerful neck, and his horns are very accurate. You can see how sharp they are. You can catch a person or a lion with them quite easily and flick them into the air good 10-15 feet before coming down and trampling you again, or sticking those horns into you again. But in this environment, if you leave the animal be, as you can see, we're leaving him, giving him his space. No need to feel threatened, no need to provoke him. He's got no need to defend himself. This is exactly the way it is in nature. If you leave animals be, you give them space, there shouldn't be any incident. The problem is, however, is sometimes you could be walking down a riverbed or through some long grass, and he could be lying up in the long grass, asleep, or as he is now, ruminating. He might stand up to your approach, and 8 or 9 times out of 10 he'll turn around and run away. But that one time that he doesn't turn around and he comes for you, they don't stop. Out of the big 5, it's the only animal that you cannot stand down. All the others, you have the potential to stop their charge through posturing and vocalizations. Not the African Cape buffalo. We're going to leave him to his ruminating, enjoying a little bit of moisture. It does look quite appealing. Some people pay lots of money for mud baths like that. Come to the Sabi Sands, give it to you for free. Plus the parasites.
Around is fine, but to see tracks on the tractor that's either on the road. If he came up this morning, he hasn't yet the whole way.
Laina.
Use this road as well. I want to the bottom of the dam. All of the good loop
We're just double checking to see if we could pick up any tracks of our leopard male this morning. Kufunyan, see if he came down this way. It doesn't seem to be anything crossing at this particular point. Mark suggests it is quite a popular place for him. It has been kind of warm. So I was talking a little bit this morning about habitat selection according to animals and what it is that they go for. Now, buffalo enjoy long grass, good quality long grass, near and about lots and lots of water. They are a ruminant, as I suggested, but the only ruminant apart from the waterbuck that deposits a dung that is quite wet and not very well compacted, as you get with a lot of the other ruminants who deposit small pellets. And that's due to the moisture in the quality, or moisture in the food that they feed on, and the amount of water that they drink per day. You won't find buffalo more than, I'd say, maximum 10 kilometers from water. That's pushing it, I'd say. In a time like this, when there's good moisture in the vegetation, they could probably reach that far, but in your dry winter months, they stick quite close. Not uncommon for you to find males like that, either individually or groups of 5 to 20, isolated from the breeding herds, spending time essentially in and around the same patch of water, and you could almost find them there on a daily occurrence during the winter, not going very, very far. So you can, if you are doing walks and you know an area quite well, tend to learn the direction and the areas of these guys. And those oxpeckers are a very important guideline as well. I told you they're feeding on the ticks on the back of the buffalo. It's important to notice that you won't find oxpeckers during the day without an animal. There is some blood-bearing animal there, ticks that are being fed upon. So the noise oxpeckers make is quite an easy call to remember and to notice. It might be an impala, it might be a rhino or a buffalo. It's good to notice that. If you hear oxpeckers coming from thick grass, thick undergrowth, good idea to walk around. It's coming along to Treehouse Dam, see what's going on. They like this, nice and warm, animals enjoy coming to drink. I'm sure there's a story that goes with the naming of all of these dams.
So this one, I believe, the treehouse in that marina.
Okay. You couldn't hear Mark there. He said there used to be a treehouse opposite side of this dam from us. Got a white-faced duck. Yeah, whistling duck, white-faced duck on its own.